A girl group that drops music without teasers, hit #1 fast, redefined teenage pop, and now is locked into a legal war with their own label? This is NewJeans, and I am Cameron. I'm the guy on a self-discovery path of all things K-pop, J-pop, P-pop and Asian pop, and I'm sharing everything I learn with you. So if you're a NewJeans fan, stick around to see what I get wrong, and if you've never heard of them, stick around so you can learn more. And yes, my eye is still a little bit dodgy, but we're on the mend. So NewJeans, that is the deep dive of today. We're going to go through who they are, how they blew up, and where are they now? Where do they stand in 2025? Whether you're a bunny, which we're going to learn all about, or a brand new, which you're also going to learn all about, here's everything you should know about the group NewJeans. NewJeans is a South Korean girl group under ADOR or ADOR, a sub-label of HYBE, HYBE. The group has 5 members: Minji, Hani, Danielle, Hirin and Haeyin. And if you're a NewJeans fan, now is the perfect opportunity to pause this video, jump into the comments and tell me how terrible I am at pronouncing Korean names. Don't worry, I do know it already, and I am trying to better myself. I am trying to learn. Oh, my pills are tucked in. There we go, much better. The backstory of NewJeans is an interesting one. In 2019, HYBE launched Plus global auditions across multiple cities to scout new talent. Over time, those selected were trained, and eventually the project evolved under ADOR, with Min Hee-jin, a well-known creative director, superheading the concept. Of note, NewJeans management kept things under wraps before their debut. There were no heavy pre-campaign teasers or huge reveals. Instead, when they debuted, the public was caught off guard. The element of surprise contributed to their early mystique. Listen, it is a well-documented fact that something that just the foundation, the formula that works well in Asian pop music is that you take a band and you give them all this hype before. I mean, look at when we was doing the deep dive to MNL48, right? They're someone that kind of over-promised on the band, but it's what they do. They make all this noise about them before it's for 2 reasons. 1, it makes sure they've got a fan base before they release anything, and 2, they can start getting public opinions on things like fashion choices and attitude and the name of a group before they release them, because once you're released, it's harder to change what you already know. Sorry about this balloon. It's harder to change what people think of you than it is just to change it before you launch. Does that make sense? Nobody does what they did, which is launch prior to having any kind of noise. But they did it, and it worked well for once. They officially debuted on July 22nd, 2022 with the single Attention. The EP NewJeans followed on August 1st, 2022, containing Attention, Hype Boy, Cookie and Hurt. The reception was huge. Their debut EP topped charts and their singles broke records. For example, Attention reached #1 on Korea's Circle digital chart. Hype Boy became the longest running song by a female K-pop act on the Billboard Global 200. Their EP, NewJeans, sold over 1 million copies, becoming one of the best debut female K-pop releases ever. Difficult to understand that it was just 2022 that NewJeans debuted. Before 3 years ago, no one had ever heard of NewJeans. Why? Because they weren't a thing. It's crazy. Especially when you think about people like SB19 who have been around for years, right? Or BTS or Blackpink that have just been at it for years. NewJeans is crazy to think about this and to actually put them in this category. But NewJeans is a new group still. I'm counting anything under 4 years as a new group. But back to the story. Soon after, in January 2013, they released their first single album, OMG, which had Ditto and OMG as lead tracks. Ditto particularly made waves. It was a long-running #1 hit on the Circle Digital chart and their first entry into global charts like Billboard Top 100 and even UK charts. They was one of the quickest groups ever to go from Korea to Western infiltration. You know, a lot of groups first, especially we see it a lot with Filipino groups, when they focus on the Philippines and growing a strong structure in the Philippines before companies even consider making music to target the Western world. NewJeans was like year one, right over there, right across the seas, right to England, right to America, and it worked for them. They were incredibly successful. By 2023, NewJeans was no longer just a rookie, they were considered trailblazers. Their next EP, Get Up, further cemented their reach. Their lead single on that one, which was Super Shy, charted globally, making them the kind of group that charts internationally beyond Korea, which is something we just spoke about. But now they're at the stage where not only are they infiltrating the Western world, they're just charting it, and it's just like an everyday thing for them at this point. What sets NewJeans apart, beyond their chart numbers, is how they craft sound and image. They lean heavily into pop, R&B and nostalgic sounds, things from like the late 90s, the early 2000s. If you're someone who is my age, 31, you're gonna like find it somewhat familiar. You're gonna hear those sounds and it's gonna just take you back to like the 2000s, or when you was it's gonna take you back to when you was a kid and the kind of music your parents was playing. That is the sound that they have. It's really nostalgic driven, and that's why it works so well in places like the West, and it's why NewJeans have such a huge fan base in the UK, and they have an older fan base, a fan base that is my age, that's in the late 20s, early 30s. Just to give you an example here, you've got the song Attention. That's like a mellow, breezy R&B feel. Hype Boy plays with like a future bass, but it's got like this rhythmic bounce to it. Songs like Super Dry incorporate things like garage. It's closer to the sound of Craig David than it is Blackpink, which is something that only an English person could understand. It's crazy. The group is also notable for minimalism in visual and styling. They often go for this soft pastel aesthetic, everyday fashion look, letting the music shine above, which is very different than other groups that you would be putting them against and that what you would think they're competing with, like other K-pop groups, which are all about big, bold visuals and bold outfits, and they're very fashion forward, and it's very couture, and it's very, you know, Milan Fashion Week, but not NewJeans. NewJeans is a lot more chill with that thing. If anything, it makes them stand out more, especially when you're competing with other K-pop groups. And unlike other rookie groups, the members actually contribute to lyrics. Members like Minji and Hani and Danielle, they've all contributed to lyrics of the song. They've crafted their identity and the aesthetic and the direction of the group. They've pushed for this kind of K-pop structure, the fashion choices, the production. They're a part of it as much as anyone else, which also doesn't really happen in K-pop. K-pop's such a big business nowadays that the members rarely get a say in things like lyrics and styling. They get told what to sing, they get told how to dance, they don't get a choice. Look at Cat's Eye, they basically control nothing about their image. It's all the company. You know, you normally don't get that. In P-pop you get that, like SB19 write their own songs, choose their own outfits, and you get that a lot in P-pop. Bina, G22, BYG they all kind of choose their own style. That never happens in K-pop. And then you get NewJeans, once again, blowing the normal K-pop structure out the water. They also emphasize subtly. Instead of big hooks, they often use emotional restraint, vulnerable lyrics, multi-layered production. The effect is something that feels less manufactured and more organic. So we've touched on some of the songs already, but let's walk through the discography and highlight some defining tracks. So you've got the two EPs, NewJeans in 2022 and Get Up in 2023. Several single albums such as OMG and all those other ones that we've already spoke about so far in this video. You've got multiple singles. I think you've got 10 plus. Then you've got the promos and the remixes. Attention was really a breakout song for them. Hype Boy, Cookie, Ditto, OMG and Super Shy. They're all the top songs. If it's your first time listening to NewJeans, you're going to go for one of those songs, if not multiple of them. They're the standout songs. Each of these tracks not only charted well, but they help define how NewJeans is perceived. Youthful, stylish, genre fluid, and emotionally resonating. During the year 2023, NewJeans had amassed several serious trophy hauls. They won over 70 awards, with nominations exceeding 150. Highlights include Best K-pop Album for the NewJeans EP, that was at the Korean Music Awards. Attention won Digital Song Bonsang at Golden Disc Awards. They also became the first female artist to win Artist of the Year at both MAMA Awards and Melon Music Awards. Also, they got Song of the Year for Ditto at several major award shows. On the commercial side, they landed big endorsements and partnerships. We're talking global fashion brands, luxury labels, mainstream consumer brands. Their image, minimalist but bold, made them valuable in the branding space. Because they've got this minimal, soft image, they could work with so many different brands that they were getting so many different partnership deals. Incredible. Their influence went beyond music. They were named amongst Time's Next Generation Leaders, listed in Forbes Korean Power Celebrity 40, and ranked as one of the best-selling artists of 2023. That was by IFPI. Then we get to conflict, because every time there's a massive group like this, there's always conflict. In late 2024, members announced they were leaving their agency, ADOR, citing issues like mistreatment, workplace bullying, and contract concerns. ADOR has denied those allegations, it's worth noting. They had rebranded themselves as NUZ in February 2025, attempting to move forward under a new identity amid the dispute. However, on March 21, 2025, the Seoul Central District Court approved an injunction from ADOR, effectively blocking the members from undertaking independent activities or discarding their contractual obligations. Because of this, the group announced an indefinite hiatus during a performance at Complex Con, Hong Kong. What this basically means is they were no longer allowed to work as a group, as the label owned the group. They was contractually obliged to work for the company. They could not just drop their label and work and go off on their own. They were owned by the label. The Seoul High Court later dismissed the group's appeal. The main legal battle, whether their original contract is void or not, still remains unresolved. This conflict has deeply affected their schedules, endorsements and brand projects. So where are they now? NewJeans in 2025, what might the future hold? Well, they are still on hiatus with all group activities paused. They cannot launch independent releases or brand deals due to the injunction. Many brand endorsements tied to them have now been dropped or paused, and the lawsuit over contract validity is still ongoing. NewJeans rose fast, a rookie group that understood nuance, nostalgia and vulnerability, and cultural impact. They weren't just chart breakers, they leaned into minimalism with intentionalism. But today, their story is paused by a courtroom instead of a stage. Will they come back even stronger? Will they reclaim their name, NewJeans or NUZ, and their creative freedom? Only time will tell. But their journey has changed what many expect from K-pop's next generation. The NewJeans fans are called bunnies. The name is a reference to the bunny imagery that NewJeans used for the artwork of their debut EP, which is up there with one of the best fandom names, if not a little bit Hugh Hefner-ish on Playboy, you know, Playboy Bunny and all that, but still, it's a nice name. And that is the story of NewJeans, basically one of the quickest rises to success ever and one of the biggest drops ever. In a very short time, they've gone from debuting to growing steadily to so many awards to now doing nothing, to being on a hiatus. They're unable to perform. Can they go off solo? Some of them maybe. Who knows what the contracts say about any of this. But let me know what you think in the comments about NewJeans, and if you've got any other groups that you would recommend I check out. As always, I've been Cameron, and thank you for watching. Thank you for everyone who told me to check out NewJeans. You did not disappoint. I had a lot of fun researching this one. I really did. I was interested from the very beginning to the very end. So I hope you was interested in this video from the very beginning and the very end also. If not, I've not done my job properly. Let me know how I can improve below. And if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. I've got 10 new subscribers. I tried to write your names down so that I could shout you out in the video, but that didn't work. So I think I'll do that next week. So maybe next week, I'll see how it works, but I want to start mentioning your name. So if you want to shout out in any future video, let me know and I'll definitely shout you out. Thank you very much.